All right, welcome into another edition of Catching Up with Tommy Mack here on 1010XL's podcast platform at 1010XL.com, of course, on the 1010XL app. And we are in the podcast studios here at 1010XL. Just got done with Jaguars today, like I do every Friday with Mike Dempsey, Fat Tony, and Pockets. And just jump right in here for the Catching Up with Tommy Mack podcast, brought to you by Team Tommy Mack. A bunch of local and regional small businesses that I personally endorse here on my shows and all throughout social media. We got a lot to get into today. Of course, the NFL divisional playoffs are upon us. We'll look at our Jaguars, state of the Jags. We'll take a small look around the National Football League as well. But one of the best weekends about to be had with the National Football League. Before we get into it, let's say hi to my esteemed producer. His name is Grammage. What's up, Grammage?
How are we doing, sir?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
Happy Friday.
Yeah,
Yes,
Friday's
sir.
a good day.
Oh, yeah.
I got the text from my 15-year-old. Said, Dad, are you still downtown? I'm like, why? You want to get out of school early? She's like, yes. I'm like, all right, I'll be there around 1 o'clock. No problem. Break you out of the school.
Yeah,
but it's a good day. No
weather's
doubt.
clearing up a bit.
I like the cool. I mean, listen, it's
Oh, I
funny.
do
All
too.
my friends up north, I'm like, yeah, it's cold out here. They're like, shut up, man. It's like 2.
Right, right.
Chicago was like 2 degrees.
Yeah.
I grew up in that stuff. I know exactly what it's like.
I listened to,
I don't miss it.
but a lot of people are probably familiar with Pardon My Take, the podcast on Barstool. They live in Chicago. They do all their stuff out of Chicago. And one of the co-hosts said that he went to open his garage door.
Yep.
And the bottom was frozen shut to the ground.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
So when he opened the garage door, it pulled the garage door apart and it broke.
Oh.
Because the garage door is like pulling away and the bottom's not moving.
You got to throw some hot water on that thing, man. Hot water melts the ice.
I was like, yeah. The coldest I've ever lived is in Nashville, Tennessee.
It gets
and
cold,
Nashville will get cold,
yeah,
but
of course.
not like that.
No, right. But 15, 20.
Yeah.
Ain't getting 0 and below. On occasion,
don't-
it probably will, but.
I mean, I thought Nashville was cold when I lived there. I don't know if I could ever live in a temperature like that. I know you have.
No, but I don't want to go back
no.
to it. No, I love Florida. Florida's where it's at for me. No doubt about it. Hey, before we get this show started, and I should have done it earlier, but I know it's very official now. Congratulations to Ross Matisic, first team AP All-Pro long snap. You know what that means, Grammage? He's the best in the league. He is the best long snapper in the league. That is a phenomenal accomplishment.
It means
man.
if you're having a long snapper draft, he goes first overall.
Number 1. That means I'm first team AP All-Pro. Let's say Pro Bowl, which he is a Pro Bowl. That's fantastic. AP, that means you're the best. First team, you're a first-team tackle. You're first-team QB. You are the best in the league per your peers and the writers, coaches included. So I take All-Pro all day, and congratulations to Ross, because that is a phenomenal – man, talk about a contract negotiation little thing. By the way, I'm the best in the league. You got to take care of me down the road.
Long snapper is a position that most teams consider easily movable. So you get a slight injury or whatever, like they won't really hesitate to cut you and bring in somebody else in. Talk about job security, man.
No doubt.
Man,
well, the thing about that is you got to be consistent. Yeah. And not just with your snaps, with getting down the field and making things happen. Of course, he had a big play, which probably propelled him big time, but he's consistent. And you need those. You know how important it is. The special teamers, right? You need the snapper, you need the holder, you need the kicker, the punter, and the return guy, and the gunner. All those are the very important positions in special teams. So hats off to Ross for being the best in the National Football League.
It's one of those things. I know this team didn't make the playoffs like we wanted to, but it's one of those things just in general in football that in the offseason when you're going through the roster and talking about roster construction across the league, all 32 teams. Those are the types of things that no one ever considers. They never pay a lot of attention to.
Yep.
But then all of a sudden, a team gives up a punt return for a touchdown in the playoffs.
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
Or, it comes down to a field goal.
Right.
Got to have it. 45-yard field goal.
Yep. Into the wind.
Right.
The snap's got to be perfect.
Right.
The hold's got to be – everything's got to be perfect.
Remember a couple years ago, Aaron Rodgers was the MVP, and the Packers were the clear favorites to probably go win the title.
Yep.
And special teams lost them a playoff game at home to San Fran. Remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that. Yep. It can happen.
100%.
That's why it's important. It's 3 phases of the game. And, man, I tell you what, so playoffs is divisional playoff. To me, this is like the best weekend in all of NFL football.
I agree.
These should be great, great games. I played in 2 of these games. 1996, we played Denver. Of course, we know that story. We were big underdogs, and we went out there and beat the Broncos, the number 1 team in the league, or the AFC at least at that time. And then 98, we went up to the Jets and lost to the Jets. We beat the Broncos, lost to the Jets in the divisional playoff round. But I tell you, man, it's so euphoric to play in those games. You know, it's like there's 8 teams left. You're the only game on TV. It's like Monday Night Football, Sunday night or Thursday night, because everybody gets to watch you, but so much more is on the line. So it makes it even greater to play in those games. And look, the pressure's on. You got to be at your best. Individually, your team, of course, but individually, you got to be at your best for that game. You have to be, or you're going to screw something up and cost your team a whatever. It could be a first down, a touchdown, whatever it may be. But there's nothing like it, because it's so heightened by who's watching, and you know what's on the line. I mean, you win that game, now you're 1 game away from the Super Bowl. 1 game. We never got there, and trust me, that thing stings every single year. It'll sting this year. 96 more for me because I was starting then, but 99 still. You know, I was on IR that year, but still, it stings. It will always sting. So these are great games. They should be good matchups. We'll go through them a little bit. We'll make our picks as well. And, of course, we're going to get a look around the NFL. Looks like the Cowboys are keeping McCarthy, and Tomlin's going to get extended after 2024, or they're going to extend him through 2020 or beyond 2024, because that's the last year of his contract. I think Dallas made the right move. Look, I don't know. When I watched that game, hats off to the Packers, right? No doubt about it. But Dallas defense sucked. I mean, the offense at least kind of, were scoring, trying, making things. They put up 32 points. You should win the game. Not when your defense gives up 48. My gosh, what a sieve they were. I don't understand their defensive front. They got their tackles so wide out, like the guard and the center either side have a free shot on your backers. And when that happens, I'm telling you, it's so hard to defend the run when they come out just square on you. And you got a 2-gap. I'm trying to make a play at the line of scrimmage or not. You need that defensive lineman to whack him a little bit, get him off his mark, so you can either make him miss or dash underneath him or what have you, or slam into him before he gets ahead of steam so you can plug the hole, So I don't know. Look, 12, I know playoffs is everything. I get it. I'm not firing Sirianni either. I'm not. I think that would be.
Well, it looks like they're going to stick with him.
Yeah, I would too. It's funny. I talked to Campbell. We all talked to Campbell. I get a chance to talk to Dave Campbell, former head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, for at least once or twice a week about ball. And I asked him, I said, Coach, what is it? I mean, it's not like all of a sudden, we'll just take Philly, but Jags are in the same boat. Take Philly, 10-1. How do you go from 10-1 to having the slide and then being out in the first round? I mean, did all of a sudden they don't know how to coach anymore? You know what I mean? They don't know how to, call plays, like all of it goes to crap. You know what he says? He goes, typically it's in the locker room. Guys aren't holding each other accountable inside the locker room. Remember that brother-in-law statement I told you? Too much brother-in-law. Too much. You know what I'm hearing out of the Jags? And whatever, man. I just want him to win. But all I'm hearing now is development. We're developing. We're developing. We're young and developing. I mean, here we go again with the developing stuff. Whatever. We'll save that for later after. I'm not ready to talk about next year, man. I'm not. I want to watch the playoffs. I'm going to enjoy the playoffs. I'm going to enjoy the Super Bowl, whoever's in there, and then I'm going to be like, all right, now we got to focus on getting this team figured out. They got a lot to do. They do. What do you do with Josh Allen? We were talking about that on Jaguars today. Where do you rank Josh Allen as one of the top defensive outside backers / defensive ends in the game? Is he as good as Myles Garrett? Is he as good as T.J. Watt? Is he as good as Nick Bosa? Those are the top 3 paid defensive linemen / outside backers in the game today. Where would you rank him out of those 3?
I'd rank him 4th out of those.
Is he anywhere close to any of them?
He's close. He's right there.
He's close to TJ?
Yeah.
TJ Watt averages he's been having like 15, 16, 17 sacks year after year, except the injury year ago.
If I rank those 3, I'd go TJ, Bosa, Garrett, and I'd have Josh Allen. I think Garrett and Josh Allen are like 3A, 3B right there. And I would have Garrett. They play a little bit different than but I would have Garrett. I think Garrett's not. But those 2 are very close to me. I think the other 2 are a little bit of a cut above.
I think all 3 of them are a little bit of, just my opinion. Now, go to like Montez Sweat, go to Rashawn Gary. Their contracts are about 25 a year, 24, 25. So he's better than them, I would say.
I agree.
And by the way, this is what players do. And their agents. They go, okay, what are you going to offer us? Well, we feel like, hey, you're not Nick Bosa, but you're closer to this. So Nick Bosa's at 34 a year. Montez Sweat's at 24.5 a year, right? I say pay him, but you're hearing more and more the tag may be coming for him if they can't figure out the number. I don't know. Look, I don't care what he gets paid. I hope he gets as much money as he can get. But what it comes down to is that realistic value. And trust me, the conversation inside the Jags organization is what? Are we going to get him again like we had him this year? Is he – because, look, what's the reality? Last year, phenomenal year. He was in the backfield all game long. No question about it. He didn't disappear once. I don't remember him disappearing once. From what I recall. The years before, no, he would have a great game, he'd disappear. Or he'd have a great 3 weeks, disappear for a week or 2. Inconsistent play. So what are you going to get? What do you expect to get out of Josh Allen? Money or no money? What kind of player are we getting next year? And if it's a player that is closer to last year than the last 3 years before that, we're going to pay him. And we're going to take our chance. There's always a risk. There's always a risk with that kind of money. Because it just is. But I feel like Josh is a genuine soul where he wants to prove that he's a top player. Some guys do it for the money. They do. And they get that money and they got to go in neutral and they're happy with. The money's so. Trey Hendrickson last year played a 1-year deal on $21 million. 1 year, $21 million. You never have to work again ever. And even your kids probably don't if you invest it. You know what I mean? So guys do, and they did it back in our day. They get paid and then they put it in neutral. They don't play with the reckless abandon that got them that contract. But I don't expect that out of Josh. I expect bigger. I don't know if I expect a bigger year than this year, but I expect similar years, And it's not just sacks. It is sacks because that's how they get paid, but it's disruption. And he was a disruptive force in the backfield, in my opinion, most if not all of the year. So I'm paying him. And if he could get $30 million a year, hats off to him. I don't know if they'll do that. You could make an argument. Stats will be important, but then value to the team is important. Here's another thing. Trayvon Walker drafted number 1 overall, had a great year, right? Especially from year 1 to year 2. Can he replace Josh as the number 1 guy?
No.
You still got to add a guy, but you may say that, but what do they think? What is Balky thinking? It's his guy. He didn't pick Josh. He's a Jaguar, of course, and I hope he's a Jaguar for life, but Josh Allen was not drafted by Trent Balky.
He wasn't, but I do think that he's been with Josh long enough now and Josh, there's been 2 years in a row now that there have been topics of trading Josh Allen at the deadline and all that. I think Balky would have moved on from Josh Allen by now if he didn't want him to be here long term. Yeah. That's my opinion.
Yeah. Well, the tag helps too. And then you let him play out his fifth-year option. So he earned it. I don't know. What if he said, I want Bosa money? You pay him? Bosa just signed his deal before last season. So, Garrett Steele's at $25 million a year, but he signed it in 21 or 2020.
And it always stacks.
It's going to go back. If he's in the open market right now or if he's redoing his deal, Myles Garrett or T.J. Watt, they're up near that $35 million a year number. They would be.
So would Josh if he hits the open market.
You think so?
I do. Because I think.
So should he? Okay.
Because I think.
I think they're going to settle around 27, 28, in my opinion. But whatever. I don't care. I hope he makes as much as he can make.
Because I think that teams. I mean, we see this every year. Teams will overpay to get, even if they're not the number 1, number 2 guy in the league. If they're the number 4, number 5 guy at that position in the league, and that's a position of need for that team, and that team has cap space, they will overpay.
Well, and they'll sit there and be like, "Let me get my hands on him. He may have done great down there, but let me put him in my defense or our defense, and let's see what he can do." It's that old. It's kind of the reverse of one man's trash. It would never be our trash. It just maybe outbidded himself, right? And someone else will get. I'll pay that. Are you kidding me? All day long. I don't have that. I don't have that on my team right now. I need that on my team. I'll pay that all day long.
And in free agency as well, you are paying a price tag for the known commodity versus a draft pick.
I agree.
You don't know how that guy might turn out. Even the best GMs in the world have struck out bad on draft picks before.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Everyone does it.
Yeah.
Obviously, the rate matters, but that's a huge part of what you're paying for in free agency is I've seen this guy on an NFL football field produce. I know he can produce at this level.
Right.
And to your point, you do have the added mystery of how much better can he be on my squad.
No, right. Absolutely.
So if Josh were to hit the open market, I believe he will end up getting paid as if he is Nick Bosa, as if he is. Okay.
Well, but I do maybe believe, he should stick to those guns.
But to your point though, with what they will probably work out here, I believe that the long-term security and getting to stay home where he's been and made his NFL home, I think that matters to a guy like Josh Allen.
Yeah,
and
man.
That doesn't
I think
mean,
so too.
That
he's
doesn't
got
mean
a family.
He's taking,
he's got a big family. I mean, he's got a young family.
Now, does that mean he's going to take a 20% discount?
No,
of course not.
No.
Of course not. But would he say, okay, I'll take a few less mil a year for a few extra years on the deal, security to stay here?
Yeah.
They brought
no
back,
state tax.
They brought back Shuey, even though they canned most of the defensive staff,
true.
who you know for a fact Trayvon and Josh like.
Yeah.
I think all that stuff matters to a guy like Josh. Yeah. Josh is a leader on this team.
He's a Jaguar for sure, man. He's Jag. He's Duval for sure.
He's been outspoken about it being personal to him that this city, he's the type of guy that the way he looks at himself getting drafted, he looks at it as Jacksonville took a chance on me.
Yeah.
And they're not everybody looks at it that way. And especially guys that are picked as high as him.
Well, look, the big concern, it's always the big concern when you pay a guy big money, is he still going to play the way he played before the big money? And that, I'm going to say he would.
I would have zero concerns
I'm going to say he would. Yeah.
Still
and
ball
I think
his
they
ass
probably
off.
do. But you still got to find the right value. I don't know if again, it's not my money. I hope he gets all the money in the world. But I'm paying Josh. I'm tagging Ridley, because if you tag Josh, what are you doing with Ridley? I want another year with Ridley, at least. You deserve another year with him. Don't give him to somebody else after he got his feet wet again. He had 8 you know what I mean? I'm going to see another year. Yeah, you got to figure him out and make sure everything's on the same page. He knows what he's doing, but I want to keep – I think, look, I've said this before. We've got enough talent to compete. There's no doubt about it. And our skill positions are plenty talented when they're healthy. Tell me they're not. Ridley, Zay, Kirk, Ingram, and Etienne. Okay, and then throw in Trevor, of course, when he gets his whole thing. You know what I'm saying? You don't need to upgrade that. I don't need Marvin Harrison Jr. to upgrade Ridley. I don't. I don't know if it's even an upgrade just yet at this point. You're not going to get him anyway, so it doesn't even matter.
It doesn't, but he's pretty damn good.
He's phenomenal. He is phenomenal. But if I'm the Bears, I might be looking at him, man, at number one. But whatever. I think we got enough skill positions to compete. I think Strange is going to get better. I like Farrell as a blocker. Bigsby, I don't know. We'll see. You got to give him another chance, but other than that, just upgrade the O-line. You got to upgrade center. I know Doug says they don't, but you do. Unless, I don't know. Fortner should get on some juice or something, man. Get mean. It makes you a little edgy. Get on the juice. Get a little bigger. I don't know. You get off in time before. But he needs an attitude adjustment. I don't know what to do with Scherf. I'd like to talk to Scherf before I make it. Where are you? And are you in it for you in it for another year? Can we count on you another year? Now, injuries happen. They do happen. But he lost a little bit of his fire this year, I thought. It happens. I don't know. Maybe he's hurt. Maybe his shoulder's hurt. Maybe his elbow's hurt. Maybe he can't, punch as hard and as fast and as physical as he wants to. But you gotta figure that out. I'm probably re-signing Ezra. I like him. I think he's an athletic guy. I don't know if he's my starter yet, but I like him. And he's very athletic, and I think he would find a home on the open market. And then, look, you got to find another guard. You do. Here's a question. What do you do with Cam? I want Cam back because of his fire. But what if you feel Anton can play left and you don't need to pay Cam Robinson $16 million? Let him go. I'm not saying that. Here's the problem with Cam. You've been hurt, right? You're another injury away from missing time. You know what I mean? I don't know. Can you count on that still? And if you feel that Anton, similar question like I had with Trayvon, replacing Josh. Are you confident Anton can play left tackle? And if you are, say you know what? This kid can play left tackle, and I want him as our left tackle. What do we do with Cam? I think we let Cam go and save $16 million in cap space.
Then who's my right tackle?
You're going to have to bring in a right tackle.
I
think our tackle, sorry to cut you. Minus the suspension for Cam, which was obviously a big negative, the tackles played the best out of the offensive line.
100%.
That doesn't mean I'm not drafting another tackle, though, because Cam's on his, he's getting up there. He's had some injuries, you know what I mean? I like when he's on the field because he's a beast. But I'm definitely, you got to invest in the offensive line. You got to invest in the defensive line. You got to find another DB to help you in the cornerback slot. So although I thought Buster did a fine job, but when a Tyson's not there or ready to go, you got somebody that can get in there and make it happen. I'll say this. Listen, I don't care what zone, man. If you don't have pressure, it's hard to play all of it. It just is. And without pressure, and we know we haven't had consistent pressure here. We've had our two outside guys. Again, you had a little bit more from the inside guys. I mean, they didn't do much in the pass rush department at all. Gotts, Foley, and Hamilton. They didn't do anything. I think maybe there was one sack between the three of them. And they got pushed around. So I don't know. I'm not expecting big changes this year. I'm not running the team, but I think we got enough talent to compete. I think it's all attitude. I really do. I think it's taking a little bit of humble pie. Quit talking about how great you're going to be and just go out there and do it and show it. And it happened last year. We were all there. The media was driving it. The team was driving it. Everyone's talking about how it's a special year. Look how we finished last year. This is just wait. And we were right there, 8-2. I think San Fran opened a big wound, and then we got a little bit like, okay, because what 2 years now, I've said this, right? The blueprint for beating our defense and offense. What is it?
Physical. Beat them up. Yep.
Beat them up, and you'll win, or you'll have a great chance to win. That's got to change. That attitude. There's no beating up Jacksonville. What the hell are you talking about? You go into the stands, you're going to get your ass whooped. Maybe not one-on-one, but there'll be plenty of people to defend Duval all day long, just like in a lot of stadiums. But no, you don't. You got to upgrade that. You got to change that narrative. We got to be mean and nasty, and we can handle anything. Bees said it great. Aaron Beasley, who's on my Happy Hour show, he said it great. You got to have an O-line and D-line that travels. What does that mean? No matter the environment, they're kicking ass. And they got the demeanor that nobody's pushing us around. We're here to dictate the flow of this game based on our physicality. You got to get back to that. We used to have that. Doug's not into that. I know. He's more – we've had this conversation about the nose test, right? It was never a big It almost felt like we'll just score more points than the other team. It doesn't matter, but we know it does matter. And they learned their lesson that it absolutely matters. So got to upgrade that on the interior side, on both sides of the ball. I think I got it. Foye, Oluwakin. I've seen people say, you don't get rid of Foye Oluwakin. You restructure his deal if you can, if you need to. I know he's got a high cap number, but he's one of your better defensive players. Why would you ever get rid of him? He's still in his prime.
Doesn't miss a snap.
No, he's the guy.
Consistent as hell.
He is the guy, and he's a great player. There's no doubt about that. All right, let's take a look around the NFL real quick. Have you seen where Dan Campbell and Kirby Joseph, they are defending his low hit on Tyler Higbee, who from the Rams, the low hit. I think the league really has to look at that. You can't be taking knees out. You can't hit him in the waist. Then I don't know. It's going to be hard. The target area is shortened, but you can't take out knees. You just can't. I don't. And every player would say, I'd rather have my knee. I'd rather have my head dinged and hurt than my knee. Okay, maybe not when you're done playing, but during for sure.
Because part of what kind of blew this whole thing up was Stafford being mic'd up.
He thought it was dirty.
Yeah, well,
he thought it was dirty. I don't know if dirty's the word, because if they go high, it's a penalty and a fine.
Yeah.
And right now, going low, there's no penalty or no fine. I think the rule just has to change, in my opinion.
I agree. And Stafford called him a dirty player.
He did.
He said, "I've seen you on film. You're a dirty player."
He did.
I can't speak to that because I'm not sitting here dialed on a Kirby Joseph film.
Yep.
But I personally, I think you and I are in agreement here based on what you're saying. I didn't think, based on the rules and what you're supposed to do right now, I didn't think that hit specifically was dirty. Yep. And I think
the league almost forced him to make that hit that way.
Correct, exactly.
I'm sorry.
Correct.
Because if
100%.
you go anywhere near the chest, anywhere near the head, you're fine.
100%.
And you may be kicked out of the game.
100%.
Yep.
And
a penalty on top of that.
And, I think also there are hits like that all the time in games.
Right.
It's just normally, not always, because a lot of knee injuries do happen in football. Normally, when the guy gets hit, his feet come off the ground,
right,
and they're able to kind of tip over. The Higbee's foot stayed planted on the ground, and that's what got him injured.
But at the time of contact, he should be listed as a defenseless player if you go watch. He did not see the hit. It's one thing if I have the ball and I'm running down the field and you come and hit me in the knees. It's another thing for me to here I am catching the ball right as I turn, kapow, and I don't have a chance to avoid you at all. I don't even see it coming. If you're going to do that for the head, I think you got to do it for the knees and the lower leg.
One of Gronk's ACL tears was something like that.
Yeah.
Similar. He was going down the seam. Brady hits him. His head still turned, catching the ball, and a safety came to tackle him. Knee done.
Yep. I tore my ACL on an I was just cutting in practice. Meniscus and ACL. Zip, gone, done for the year, happened in camp. I've never been hit like that, but every time I see that, it's because it can ruin a career. So can your head over time, but right then, you go back, we just saw, last night we're at the show, we're watching highlights of Tavian Banks. Tavian came out of Iowa, same draft as Freddie T. Phenomenal back, a great third down, could return. We loved him. He was a weapon. There's no doubt about it. Of course, Freddie was the main weapon, but he was a weapon. And how did he get hurt? On a flat pass right as he turned up. It was right up in Atlanta. I was doing sideline reporting because I was out of the game and took his knee out, shattered it, and never was this. It's just those types of hits I think we got to look at. And again, I'm not calling him dirty. I know Stafford did. I haven't seen all his hits. That hit wasn't dirty. I just think he's forced into making that hit because of the league rules. I think the league rules have to change. All right, let's get into our picks for the divisional playoff round, brought to you by Team Tommy Mac. Again, great businesses, Chris Lucero's Bail Bonds, Outback Marine Construction, Truck Accident Law Firm, Graffiti Burger Bar, Carpet Man Flooring, Solomon Ventures, Azar Sausage, J-Dog Junk Removal, and others. Thank you for the great support. It goes on through the year, man. We don't stop. We're going to talk ball all year long. We do it Tuesday and Friday right here from the 1010 XL podcast studio. So stay tuned for that as we continue on throughout the year. All right, let's start with Saturday night. I love these games. I think these are going to be great games. I really do. Houston at Baltimore. Interesting news. He hasn't been cleared yet, but tight end Mark Andrews may be game time ready. How about that? Getting another one of your weapons if he's healthy. I think Houston's going to come out strong. They should have, look, I know from 96 where we weren't supposed to do anything to winning the wild card. Like when we went to Buffalo, it was like Buffalo's never lost at home in the playoffs. Ever. They were 9-0, I think, at home during the playoffs prior to us beating them after the 96 season. So, like, nobody gave us a chance at all. And we were kind of like, well, we're going to go play hard. We'll see what happens kind of deal. But then we beat them, and then we're like, you know what? Yeah, man, we're a pretty good team. We could hang next week. We're not afraid of next week. We're not going in there like, well, we don't know. We're like, no. Yeah, they're the best team, but so what? We're a tough team too. I think they'll have confidence. Houston should. They've earned it. They've earned the count. And I know a lot of people that smart. I want them to fail. I don't know. I don't care if they win. I don't care if they lose. I got them losing. But I love the playoffs. I do, man. I think playoffs are the best. They're the best. They're absolutely the best in my opinion. But I got Baltimore winning this game. I think they'll win. The spread, I don't do spreads, but we did it today. Spread's 9.5. I think they might get that 10-point spread, late field goal in the end, but I think it's going to be a pretty competitive game from the snap.
9? Listen, if you held a gun to my head and said you got to pick a correct Super Bowl winner, I'd pick Baltimore right now. So I really like Baltimore.
Yeah, I would too.
9.5 say a lot of points for a divisional round playoff game against a quarterback that's been playing really good ball.
Yeah.
I think Baltimore's going to win the game.
Yep.
If you're telling me spread, though, I think I'd take the points with Houston.
Okay.
9.5's a lot of points, man.
I know. We got 2 games at 9 and a hook
and
this
week.
Isn't.
9.5 is a lot of points for a regular season NFL game. We're talking the second round of the playoffs, man.
I just think Baltimore's going to take over. I think they're going to take over, and it'll be close to that. Hey, whatever. I hope it's a competitive
Especially
game.
Because I kind of see that game being it's going to be really cold in Baltimore.
Yeah.
I think that
their defense is really good. Lamar's special. I mean, they've got the weapons now. If Mark Andrews plays, they still got the other kid Likely. He's a very good tight end. So, I don't know. And Harbaugh always has his team ready.
Oh, yeah.
Always has them ready. So I wouldn't expect a lot of mistakes from them. I expect them to play tough, physical. And I think this is his year, man, just to show why he's so dynamic.
He
sure is.
He's throwing the ball better than he's ever thrown it.
Oh,
he's
a magician. He's smooth. He's silk. He can throw it. He can do it all.
And he does.
And you know what? You don't know what to do as a defense because if you pressure him, he can hurt you. If you pressure him and you don't get him down, he's really going to hurt you. If you sit back, he's going to hurt you. You know what I mean? It's a challenge.
You know what he does too that I think, and I noticed this a lot when they were here for the Sunday night game, and I would like for Trevor to take a page out of Lamar's playbook with this. Yeah. Lamar dances around in the pocket a lot, buying time, waiting for guys to get open, all that stuff, right? And you're right. He's a magician, does a bunch of stuff. But his ability to do all that and take care of the ball is very impressive. Yep. Trevor is a good runner. We've talked about Trevor Ball 100 times. When he plays a little street ball, it makes him play better. But sometimes he doesn't know when to shut it down, take the sack, next play, or throw it away, whatever.
Isn't there enough yet.
Lamar is so good, makes so many plays. Mahomes is really good at this too. Good, makes so many circus plays.
Yep.
But you still will see throughout a game, you'll see them throw it away.
Oh, yeah.
You'll see them take a sack or whatever.
Totally.
Those guys, some of that's experience. They've both been in the league longer than Trevor. Sure. They're both older. They just seem to have a better sense of when to shut that play down specifically. Yep. Okay, this play, I don't have it. Also, if it's first down, let's throw it away. If it's fourth down, force it a little more. There's a little bit more awareness there. Yeah. And Lamar has really honed that in this year, and he's got more weapons than he's had in the past.
Yep.
Dude, I don't think anybody's beating them.
I don't either. And look, I back to Trevor Ball. That's what he plays his best ball.
100%.
So I know he's confident, but he needs to be more confident with running that ball and taking off when nothing's there, man. That's such a weapon. Yeah, decisively.
Right.
I don't think he's that. Sometimes he is. Sometimes he's really confident with it, and sometimes he's a little like, I'm not too sure if I should run or force this throw or do whatever.
And that's when he has those plays where he's getting sacked, and last second he pulls the ball out and tries to do something and he fumbles. So that's when those plays happen.
Listen, from a defensive standpoint, when that quarterback takes off and beats you after you've covered down, it's a dagger. It's a wind in the sails dagger. So that kills you. It does.
Because it's like, what the hell? You're like out of answers.
Yeah.
It feels like you're like, what the hell else am I
and then
supposed to do?
On the other side, think about it. You run for a first down. It's a first down. You're jacked up. I'm moving to change. I'll run for another one. Jacked up. Now you're worried about me running. Now you got to worry about me. Am I going to run? Am I going to throw when I get out of the pocket? Are you going to press me to make me throw, or are you going to sit back and I'm going to get my yards and know when to slide? He takes too many shots. Can't take those shots, Trevor, that is. But Trevor Ball definitely got to get back to some of that. All right, Green Bay headed to San Fran, another 9.5-point spread. I think this one's going to be a little closer.
See, I think,
but I got San Fran. You know, I worry about any team that, and I should say this for Houston too. I worry about any team like Baltimore and San Fran that haven't played in a few weeks.
The rest versus rust.
Rest versus rust, right? Now, you wouldn't expect either team to be rusty, but it's kind of natural to be rusty because you can't do game speed during practice. And in today's game, they don't do any speed. I mean, they run, but it's not anywhere near game physicality, game speed. So would there be a little rust? Now, granted, look, I said that earlier, and then I'm like, well, wait a minute. When we went out to Denver, they had that. They rested their starters, had the week off. They went up 12-0. Now, we caught up at halftime 13-12 against Denver, but I don't think they were that rusty. Maybe the rust came in later. I don't know. But I do think Green Bay and Houston will start off strong. I do. I'm not saying they're going to go up by, the other two are going to have to play from behind, but I think they'll go back and forth. They'll hang for a little bit, second half. You know what's funny about football games? I really don't get excited till after halftime anyway. Because I want to see them come out after halftime. You know what I mean? Whether they scored right before half and then they get the ball back, or, you know what, maybe they faltered, but then they stop them on the first series. You know what I mean? Like, I want to see how they come out, who's making the adjustments, who's helping their team win. But I think San Fran they'll pull away. I think they'd probably do the 10 again. Kind of similar, I think, in my opinion, with Baltimore pulling away, getting that 10. Because at the end of the day, you just got to win. Style points don't matter in the playoffs. It really doesn't. And I don't care if you're the number one seed or not. All that matters is advance. Now, if you play like crap, they're going to correct that during the week. But it's a lot better to correct it when you're winning.
Yeah.
Because when you lose that game, there's no correction. It's over.
Yeah, it's over. Yeah,
you have your exit meetings. You say, well, you didn't play that well, blah, 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 blah. Great year, bad year, whatever.
Team.
Out. Right.
Look at this team.
Right.
I mean, there's nothing – we talked about this before. There's nothing more maddening than when a coach, and Dempsey talks about this all the time, and I agree with him,
yep,
in press conferences, when they always say, this issue, it's all correctable. Yeah, it's all fixable.
They fix it.
Then fix it.
Yeah, right.
Fix it.
Yeah, they don't.
I mean, Doug Peterson sat up there and told us for 6 weeks that all this stuff was correctable, and they didn't correct it until they were out of the playoffs.
Well, I keep hearing that Doug feels like he can fix this offense.
That's great. Why didn't you do it?
I know.
Why didn't you do it again? I mean,
and then we'll see what happens with Press. I saw where Press may be considered for Jed Fish's staff out of Washington, University of Washington.
The Ohio State was looking to hire an OC, and they were
they went with Billy O'Brien,
and they went with Bill O'Brien.
Yeah, I saw that. One of our friends' daughter's married to the strength coach, who's now at Washington.
Cool? like just hired to Washington?
Yeah.
For Jed Fish's
staff? Yeah, because he was at a U of A.
Yeah.
The Sanford family. Tyler's his name, good kid.
Nice.
Tyler and Kristen, they're going to.
Jed Fish is a University of Florida alum.
Yeah, he was a Jaguar coach, right? Quarterback coach, maybe? Something like that. Yeah, good for him, man. Good for him. Anyway, let's go on. Tampa at Detroit. I don't know, man. I feel like Tampa's got a real good shot at winning this thing. I like Detroit a lot. I love the coach. I love the culture. They got it going on. I think they're going to give them a hell of a battle. I think it's going to come down to the wire. I don't know. I feel like Baker and company, their defense is starting to play better, and he's playing some good football, man. He's playing some real good football. So
can I tell you, in my opinion, the number one reason that the Bucs are still playing ball right now?
Baker Mayfield?
No, I don't think it's because I think Baker's been the main talk, and Baker has really revived himself this year.
He's got a lot of grit, that kid.
It's no knock on him. He's had a hell of a year.
Yep.
In my opinion, the main reason they're still playing ball is because they are just completely shutting down opposing teams' running games.
Yeah.
I mean, the Eagles all year.
They held them to 9 points, man. That's huge.
That's insane.
Yeah.
And you know why they held them to 9 points? And part of it's A.J. Brown not playing, of course.
Yep.
But, man, and I know.
You know who it is. His name starts with V. He's a double V.
Right.
He's a big part of it.
Yes.
That's why you need a beast in the middle like that can't be moved around, that can also penetrate. Guy had like 6.5 sacks this year.
And schematically, what does Todd Bowles do? He always brings an extra person.
Yep.
You don't know where it's going to come from, but he always brings someone extra.
Yep.
So you got all those down linemen, and you're always going to have someone coming from somewhere.
Yep.
And I think Jalen Hurts was clearly overwhelmed trying to figure out where that extra pressure was going to come from.
He's been a mess the last half of the year.
But, I mean, all year until they started really not playing well, the Eagles were always able to, if the passing game wasn't there, they were able to just run it down your throat.
But their defense gave up like 30 points a game the last 5-6 games.
I know, it's crazy.
Like, that affects the offense for
100%.
the record. It affects everything. So, I don't know. I think I got Tampa win. I hope for Brunell's sake that he wins because I love Mark Brunell, and he's that quarterback coach up there. It'd be awesome. And what a great story for Detroit, but what a great story for Tampa. You know, who would have thought they'd been there? Nobody.
I mean,
kind of like us in 96, and you got momentum. You feel like you could handle them. There's no way Todd Bowles and Baker Mayfield. And by the way, I was going to add, their offensive line gets after it now.
Yeah,
they're nasty offensive line. I'm telling you, that's what every team needs is a nasty offensive line. You need a nasty D line too. But that offensive line sets the damn standard, man. It sets the tone every single week.
When you were talking about the toughness this team needs and how it's an issue that they keep getting out physical, and that's the blueprint to beat them, I was kind of mentally going through as you were saying that, like each team still in the playoffs.
Yep.
There is somebody in a leadership role on every single team that's still playing ball that you can point to and say that's toughness.
Yep.
At least one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, the Lions, it's clear. Dan Campbell and
their old line's tough too, man. They get after it.
The Niners, I mean, Trent Williams, are you freaking kidding me? Like,
they got a good team, good old line.
Look at the team that took the AFC South crown from us. You think D'Amico Ryans doesn't instill toughness?
Right.
I mean, come on.
No doubt.
So
it's all culture, man. It's not always a talent. It's a culture. They got to fit into the culture.
And I think toughness brings consistency.
Yep.
Because flashiness or having a really good scheme to pick on opposing defenses, like those things come and go.
Yep.
But punching the other team in the face, that
comes from the locker room.
100%.
It comes from the veterans all the way down. Like that has got to be the standard. That it's a fist fight, man. And we'll shake hands after the game. It's all good. We even go out for beers if you want. I don't care. But they're in a game. They're the freaking enemy. Beat their face in. Sorry for the language. Although it was under my breath. All right. Final game, KC at Buffalo. What a nightcap. I mean, come on. And it starts at 6:30. Woo! I'll stay up the whole time. I can't wait. But what a nightcap. Are you kidding? This is going to – I think all the games are going to be great, but this is going to be a game for the ages, I think.
On paper, that's the best game.
Oh, man. And look, Buffalo's tough. I think you can run on Buffalo. We'll see what Pacheco can do against them. But I'm picking KC, and it's a tough pick. I'm not worried about them on the road. I've played at Buffalo. It's a lot of places are tough to play, and if you get down, that momentum can kill you. There's no doubt about it. But how do you shut up a crowd? You go score some points. You go move the ball. You hit them in the mouth. I'm picking KC because what impressed me last week was going into Miami. You're thinking run, run, run. And they're thinking, no, we got a special QB that can throw the ball in these elements, and we're going to take advantage of you. And that's exactly what they did. Their defense stepped up. I think Chris Jones and company are going to be a problem. Both teams have been run on, though, throughout the year, not totally consistently, but there have been games you're like, damn, you're surprised that's happening. I like Buffalo's O-line. KC's O-line, they're okay. But I like Buffalo's O-line. I told you about their right tackle, what he did to Highsmith last week. I love that. I mean, that was coming around, threw him down, and jumped on him. Jump on him and bury him into the ground, man. Embarrass those guys.
We've talked about this before, and it's going to be hard for me to let this go until the offensive line here starts playing better.
Yep.
But Osiris Torrance.
I know. Yeah. They're good, man. They're good.
Man,
I love them.
What I would do for an ass-kicking guard.
Yep.
Oh.
And center.
And center.
Yes. Right.
James Cook is averaging
he's running the ball, man.
He's running, but he's averaging like 2 to 3 yards before contact.
Yeah,
like I don't know exactly what it is, but it's some insane stat. Like he's able to get like almost to the linebackers before he's getting touched.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yep. Yeah, they're good, man. Who do you got in this game? Who are you thinking?
I like Buffalo in this game.
Yeah, a lot of people are picking Buffalo. I don't know. I think Mahomes is magical, and I think he's going to show.
It's really hard to bet against Mahomes.
Yep.
And if the Chiefs win, I'm going to be like, you idiot, picking against Mahomes. You don't do that.
Well, look, when Josh Allen's on, he's tough to stop. If you get him in a little rut, you can get to him. I think with Mahomes, even if you get him into a little bit of rut, he can pull himself out of the rut during the game. I think Josh can too, but if I had to pick between the two, who does that better, I'm picking Mahomes.
I think the Dolphins kind of falling apart late in the season was overshadowed by the Eagles and the Jaguars falling apart because those were a little bit more seismic collapses.
Yep.
The Dolphins were not playing good ball by the end of the season, and I think when they lost to Buffalo the week before, that was kind of the end of their season.
Yeah.
And I think the Chiefs got to play a wounded animal when they played the Dolphins in those temperatures.
Yeah.
I believe that last week was a little bit of lipstick on a pig this year with the Chiefs. And to calling them that when they're the defending champs is obviously, of course, they
struggled. I mean, they weren't the same old Chiefs, but I think they're coming on at the right time. And back to Miami, the cold was going to kill them. It just does. The ball's slicker. The ground's harder. It's slippery.
And they weren't playing good ball in the first place.
Yeah.
That was the main thing.
The reality of the Dolphins this year, although a very good team, they didn't really beat anybody. Now, they beat Dallas. That gave us a false, they beat Dallas, so they must be really good. But other than that, they didn't really beat a winning team. You know what I mean? So maybe they're the lipstick on the pig. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They are the ones that look better than they actually – now, they got a ton of great players, don't get me wrong. But they really didn't beat a lot of winning teams this year, and maybe that says something about them.
Well, that's kind of what I mean is I'm saying, I don't – that win over the Dolphins didn't tell me all that much, in my opinion. I think they still have a lot of issues that could potentially hold them back from.
Here's the thing about the playoffs.
But it's Patrick Mahomes.
And it's your defense coming on at the right time. That's what it takes. Your defense has to come on at the right time. Your O-line has to come on at the right time, and your quarterback's got to take care of business, right, and not turn the ball over. And that's what I look at. And that's why because you could make a case for all 8 teams. They're coming on. Their O-line's coming on. Their D-line's coming on. The quarterback's getting work done. Even look at Green Bay. Look at their QB. Look at Stroud. Look at Josh Allen. I mean, look at them. They're all right there. We're going to see Purdy. Those guys are great. That's going to be a tough offense to stop, man. They are going to be on point and ready to go. That's going to be a shootout. If Green Bay has a chance, they're going to have to try to keep up because I don't think Green Bay's defense will stop them.
If they win, they'd have to win 38-35.
Yeah. I think it'll be that kind of. Yeah, I think it'll be something like that. But
I really like every quarterback still in the playoffs.
Oh yeah,
and it seemed on the surface it kind of seems like no duh, it's a division round, but there are some teams with not great quarterbacks that make it this far.
No doubt. Well, look, Jordan Love came on and C.J. Stroud came on. The other ones, we knew
established
they were
already.
Yeah, we knew they're
Goff,
good.
Purdy, Mahomes, Allen, Lamar.
Yep.
Yeah. But every
Who
single.
We missing one. That was 7, I think. Goff,
Baker.
Good job. Yeah. They're all established, right? But those two young, especially Love, Stroud, you just saw it and you're like, okay, this kid's going to be good. Love, it just seems like this season it just started clicking for him. Like maybe second half. What they say, week 12, he's got the highest passer rating since week 12, going into last week's game. That says something about his development and him, getting better.
That's what our guy did last year.
Yeah.
Kind of just maintaining most of the year, had some ups and downs, and then end of the year
turned it on.
Yep.
Yeah. The defense has got to come with you, though. You're not going to make it happen. We'll see what happens. Hey, thanks, Mark, for reminding me. Next Friday night, not tonight, next Friday night, Dad Bods at Cole Haynes in Atlantic Beach. Want to thank everybody for coming out to Iggy's last Friday. The rain, it sucked, but thank you for all of you that stayed there. You stayed for the 3 sets. I tell you what, we're coming together as a band, man. We're getting really, really tight. and my band, they're the best. I'm the novice one. They're really getting really good. Want to thank Iggy's for having us out. Want to thank, of course, Graffiti Burger Bar. Make sure you check them out. And for games this weekend, hosting Tommy Mac's Happy Hour. I got to tell you really quick on the Horse's Mouth. Yesterday we had XL Primetime. So Mia, Matt, Joe C, and Coach Campo came. So that was really cool. We had a voice actor, a guy named Scott. This was great. This is like live, right? So I didn't know this before. I said, so what's your favorite, voice? He goes, I do the Safe Touch security commercial. I'm like, what? What do you do? He's like, yeah, I do the robbers. I'm like, you do both voices of the robbers? He's like, yeah. I'm like, give me something. And he totally did it. It was great. It was great. He like, McManus, what are you doing behind the bar? I mean, it was just dead on. And then my favorite, I think, going down the line, there's 5 at the bar on this segment. I get to number 4. This guy named Steven. Big kid, probably in his mid-20s, beard, red hair, just, anyway, works for like University of Florida's small farm division, and I totally butchered that, but he works for he oversees all the small farms in Duval County. I was like, wow, what a cool job. And I heard him say something before he went on to one of the other guests about cattle. I said, you do something with cattle too? And he goes, oh yeah, I'm a livestock agent. And it blew my mind because I'm thinking Yellowstone. And I'm like, you're a livestock agent? Holy, you got your thing? You got like your little badge you got down? And then remember, I don't know if you watch Yellowstone, but I'm a federal agent, and I will shoot you dead. It was great, man. I love that show. Get to meet so many people, and it doesn't cost nobody nothing. Just sit at my bar, and we have a conversation. There's nothing better. Check it out on ABC over the weekend, Saturday and Sunday around 12 noon. Check it out in the local ABC channel. All right, Grammage, have a great weekend, my man. We'll see you next week on Tuesday. Thanks for everybody for checking it out. Appreciate all the support. Thanks, Team Tommy Mac. Make sure, hey, look, go to my Facebook if you would, and go see my post. When I post about Team Tommy Mac, I tag each and every business. Just click on their handle. They'll go to their Facebook page and go see why I endorse some of the best businesses right here in Northeast Florida and beyond. So until next time, stay safe out there and be cool. And we'll see you right here on Catching Up with Tommy Mac. Peace.